Bengals taking on the Broncos. We'll talk about this coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I am ATism. Partner, how you doing today? You have a good Christmas, good holiday. How you doing?
Really good Christmas, man. Lots of blessings, lots of good stuff. Gave out some real good gifts, got some good stuff. I'm really excited to be here, man. How about yourself?
Good, same, bro. Son he wanted a PS3. I don't know why, but he's been watching some YouTube videos. He's been wanting the older kind of stuff. Still got some stuff like Fortnite stuff and stuff like that for the PS5, but he wanted to go retro, so we made it happen. Me and him, I've been dunking on him on 2K11. I try to tell him I'm a 2K GOAT, bro. I'm like, you don't want this. This is my wheelhouse. This is when I was in my prime, bro. I was Joe Burrow.
Not against me, boy.
2024 Joe Burrow. If you want to see me on the sticks, bro, it's nothing.
You don't want to do that.
I'm 2024 Burrow, bro.
You don't want to see me on 2K, bro. You don't want to do that. I'm telling you, the next show they're gonna be like, "Where Ace at?" I'm be like, "Bro, he probably got that L on him somewhere. I don't know. You're gonna have to pick him up.
You're gonna have to get a server just for me and you to play PS3. We're gonna have to get you a PS3. We're gonna have to hook it up, bro.
You know how crazy that sounds. Like, hold on, you got a PS5 though.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying, we're playing 2K11 though. You can't play that,
bro. Like, listen. If you want to do something, 2K. What's 2K5?
2K25 on PS5.
Yeah, 2K5 on Xbox or PlayStation. We got it. We ready to go. Whatever you want to do.
Uzi, I don't want to embarrass your dad, but I'm gonna have to do it. We gonna get it on the 2K25 then.
Hey, look, and it's like discounted right now. It's like $27 or something like that.
No, we already got it. We already got it, so we good. Yeah.
Oh, say less. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you my gamer tag. Yeah, we can get it on. No problem.
Nah, but speaking of getting it on, the Bengals got to get it on against the Broncos this week to get into the playoffs. It's been tough because we're coming off of the NFL on Christmas Day and some of the matchups that have already happened. The Chiefs end up beating the Steelers. It was nasty. The Texans end up getting blown out by the Ravens. What are your thoughts on those games and pertaining to how they affect the Bengals?
Can I just say that the Ravens, for a team that should have 7 L's, the 5 that they already have, the 2 we should have gave them, look like the most unstoppable team in the NFL right now. Ain't that something like that's how crazy the NFL is? It's like you get hot at the right time, get on, all functions. Like they beat up, but I know that the Texans were banged up, but it is what it is. I guess I've just been looking at the outlook of what it's like in the AFC. I do think the Colts with AR probably not playing, Joe Flacco playing. I do think it gives a little bit of glimmer of hope that the Colts could lose. And then you also have a Dolphins team that I don't really believe in. The Browns have done some crazy stuff, but if they're playing DTR, we're cooked. And I guess that's what I look at. I guess the least concerning thing is, and I should be more concerned about, I guess, is the Broncos. The thing that the Bengals actually can control. It's like the other things are kind of bothering me where I'm like looking at the playoff picture. But overall, from what I saw, I just thought the Packers are a team too on the NFC side that I just don't think people are talking about enough. I don't know. I think Jalen Hurts probably comes back soon, but that Packers defense is nasty. There's some teams that I think are low key. Texas would have been my sleeper, but the Tank Dell injury is too much.
Yeah, I think the Texans, man, they've fallen off of a cliff. I think, like you said, the Stephon Diggs injury kind of hurt them a lot. That kind of was like they jammed their finger on that one. And then they just lost their whole hand once they got Tank Dell going down. And I just think that team psychologically, like as soon as the Tank Dell play kind of happened, it was kind of like that was almost somewhat the last straw. I mean, I watched them in several games this season. they never really looked like the team that they were supposed to be, really at any point, even when healthy, even with all of the guys there, they still weren't winning and convincing people like they should have. And I think once you started to see the chinks in the armor, once they lost that Titans game, like they had some ugly games, and now it's like they're just holding on. I think, for them, the biggest issue is CJ Stroud doesn't look like the guy that he was last year. And that's very important because whenever you go into any season, even Jaden Daniels right now, I praise him, but that's one of the points that you can kind of bring up is this is the first season. Nobody really has much tape. Nobody has really settled into these guys. And when you get a whole offseason to prepare for some of these guys and give them different looks, then you can have what's happening to CJ Stroud this season. Now, someone who never had that, Joseph Lee Burrow, never had the tape out on him. I heard a lot of these quarterbacks being brought up over him and saying that they're better than him and stuff like that. But Joe Burrow, that just speaks to some of the greatness and consistency that he has because his quote unquote, I don't know if you want to call it 1.5 season or whatever, he was in a bowl. So like for us, there is no tape that you can really put on Joe Burrow because he's always processing everything, and that's something that separates him. But I hope that guys on the Texans and stuff can keep it together. But I think that that's where the Texans are for the Steelers, bro. They have gotten killed in the last 3 games by double digits. Like in each game that they've been in, they just don't appear to be on the level of a Philadelphia Eagles. They don't appear to be on the level of a Baltimore Ravens right now. It's kind of I thought that they could be a team that could really hang with them. They ended up having some issues. Rush is finally kind of coming back down to earth. Their offense isn't good. It's not explosive. Like they don't have anything outside of George Pickens and Jalen Warren. And if those guys aren't producing, they're not hanging. So as a Bengals fan, it sucks because a lot of these teams that we thought were going to be competitors in the AFC, along with the Bengals, have started to kind of fizzle out. And now the Bengals are getting hot, but we're on the outside looking in. And,
right.
and on some of these, we need some of these teams to step up and do something, and they're just not doing it. So that's what my takeaway was, bro.
The Steelers one is the one that makes me sick too. Like I said, the Ravens one makes me sick because those are 2 games, bro, up 21-7. I keep on thinking about it's 2 different sequences. Up 21-7. That Chase Brown fumble. If he doesn't fumble, could the Ravens come back? Sure. But I just think that it's like them trying to come back to win the game at the end. Like, you know what I mean? And then the other one, remember the Lamar one where he gets away from Sam Hubbard, whatever. They're down 10 points with 5 minutes left.
Yep.
So think about that, though. Like, those are 2 games. You think about that, like I don't dwell on like that so much, but when you look at the best of the best, for people that say, oh, I don't think the Bengals, like if they got in the playoffs, they wouldn't be anything. Like on one hand, I hear that, but then on the other hand, I'm like, bro, like against the best of the best, like they gave Pat Mahomes, you could say the defense is bad, right? Yeah. Wouldn't everybody agree that the Bengals defense is probably a little bit better than what it was like earlier in the season? Like even just a little bit after coming off of 3 consecutive wins, Bengals defense dominated. And
I don't think they're a great defense, but they have been elite at getting turnovers. So,
but they're better than what they were in week 2,
sure,
right?
For sure, because they weren't getting turnovers.
What if I told you that they gave Pat Mahomes his worst game of his whole entire career in week 2 with a bad Bengals defense? So now that the Bengals are now causing more turnovers and a little bit better, I would love to play them again.
I would love our chances against anybody.
And Joe Burrow probably playing the best. This is the best football I've ever seen Joe Burrow play. I'm gonna tell y'all one thing. It's a cheat code. And Dan Pitcher talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I might have said it on the show. One thing that he's done to his game that I don't know if people are paying attention to this, and this is the one thing that I think he does better than anybody in football right now. When he goes into his drop back, generally, you'll take a lot of sacks if you're in retreat and you're just trusting a pocket. Burrow learned this season, I could trust my teammates, but I don't have to trust the pocket. Watch how when he's moving forward, think about the jump pass, think about the Superman the Superman play, think about the scramble in the Giants game, think about all of these plays that he made. They're all moving forward. He learned to play downhill in the pocket. And when he plays downhill, it's the scary and maybe Lamar Jackson, the threat of him running. I don't think the accuracy of Josh Allen just isn't there for me to put this same level of fear. But when Joe Burrow's moving forward and not in retreat mode, he is scary. Like, he's putting 400 on you. Go back and watch his best plays of the season. Even when you think about the beautiful Jamar Chase deep bomb to the Texans last year, Jamar Chase, they're moving forward. Think about the 49ers one. He gets away from everybody and then he throws it, but he's moving forward. Everything is, as long as he's moving forward and playing downhill, he's the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. And then the way that he does that is very rare that he's taking way less sacks just off of that. That's why in the offseason, when we start talking about bettering the offensive line, I'm here for it, of course. But his style of play is going to invite a couple more sacks, I think, than the average quarterback because he's extending plays. And it was a clip I loaded up on my Twitter of DC Vance Joseph. Isn't that his name? The DC for the Broncos.
Vance Joseph, yep, used to be a coach for the Bengals.
Yep, exactly. And he was schooling a reporter. The reporter's name was Mike. Said, "Yeah, bro. I mean, he's like a pocket pass." He said, "No, that's his first act. His second act is one of the scariest in the NFL." He was like, "Bro, this is Peyton. This is Tom all over again." He said he's the best in the league. And to hear a random slob online tell me that while he's eating his bonbons with sugar crumbs on his finger, tell me that he thinks Joe Burrow's overrated, it doesn't really move me that much. But when you hear Micah Parsons, Vance Joseph, and people that have to actually go against Joe Burrow continuously, Trayvon Diggs, all these people saying that Joe Burrow's the best quarterback, I kind of tend to go towards one of those guys.
No, I agree as well. As you guys know, the show is sponsored by BETUS. Make sure that you guys check out the promo that they have going on right now. It's YouTube 150 is the promo code. That is going to get you 150% match on your first deposit. So make sure to take advantage of that. BETUS is doing this for us. We appreciate them for rocking with us. Once again, that promo code is YouTube 150, YouTube 150 to get that 150% price match. All right. Let's get into this game, man. Let's start on the defensive side of things. So you're talking about the Bengals defense doing pretty well this season. How do you view them matching up against this Broncos team with Bo Nix as the starting quarterback? Broncos obviously also fighting for one of these spots within the playoffs. But how do you look at this Sean Payton offense and kind of break it down in comparison to this Bengals defense?
It's a little tricky because if you pay attention to just the quarterback play, EPA per play currently right now, Bo Nix is 30th in the NFL. For all the accolades and all the glaze that he got online, he hasn't been playing his best ball as of late. Whereas in that same statistical category, Joe Burrow's listed at number 1. The Bengals have proven that lesser than quarterbacks, they're typically having their way with them. I like that matchup. I think that there are games where the Broncos have kind of fizzled out. There are some games where you can see where they stepped up, and they lead a lot to me with the league leading in sacks. Their team is maybe it's second now. I don't know after the last couple of games that just happened with the Seahawks getting 7 sacks against Caleb Williams is an idiot. The way he plays football is very stupid. But I don't know who's leading. But going into this week, the Broncos were leading the league in sacks, and I think that kind of propels them and gives their offense some chances. And I don't put as much stock on their offense as most. They've had a lot of short fields in some of those games. I had a chance to go rewatch a couple of those games, whatever. But even like in that game with the Chiefs where they get the block kick, that's a defensive game, defensive performance that put them in some good spots. They still only mustered up 14 points in that game. But although Chiefs are a top 5 defense in the NFL, so I'm not trying to limit it into that one game. There are a lot of different things I think to look at, but I start with the quarterback matchups, and I just think Joe Burrow's just playing too much better. I've been looking at the weather. I've been one of the people, I believe and I subscribe to Nineism, but one thing I'm going to tell y'all, I don't really like Joe Burrow in the rain. That's one of my weird little quirks that I've had. I've never successfully seen him ball out in a crazy rain game. If you can, in the comments of this YouTube, please let me know what rain game did Joe Burrow ball out in, because The last time we saw him in the rain, 82 yards total. Mind you, hurt calf. The weather has looked a lot better. They're saying now in Cincinnati, it went from a 55% chance of rain to now a 15% chance of rain, where there may be light showers. But today, they're saying that the rain that would have been there for Saturday Cincinnati's going to get some of that rain today. I thought that would play a big part in the game. If there is no weather, I think Joe Burrow and company are going after it. Like, how about you?
Yeah, I think this is one where this Broncos offense are averaging 21 points per game. Excuse me, 302 yards per game. So not too bad of an offense, not a high scoring offense like the Bengals, right? Bengals right now are averaging 28.7. When it comes to what they are on the ground, they're kind of more of a balanced, somewhat offense. They pass the ball 57% of the time. Rush it 43% of the time. So I expect them to try to get some carries in on the ground and kind of run a balanced attack. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bengals do against them. Their third down conversion on offense isn't great in terms of the Broncos, 36%. So I think if you're this Bengals defense, you've got to win on third down against this team. And when it comes to the red zone scoring, they are scoring 52% of the time. So I think, like you said, they've got a rookie quarterback. Bo Nix likes to do some things here and there. Doesn't show up great in the metrics, but they do have guys like Cortland Sutherland. They do have guys like Troy Franklin on the outside. You talk about Javonte Williams, what he brings from a run game standpoint. You talk about their offensive line where they have Mike McGlinchey and Ben Powers and Garrett Bowles. I do think that this Bengals defense can do some favorable things against them. And I think, especially when it comes to the run game, which they like to do, I think they can try to contain them. And then you also have Estime, who the Bengals are familiar with from the draft process. So I think if the Bengals defensive line can do what they did last week in terms of making stops in the passing game, getting pressure to the quarterback, getting some tackles for loss like we saw with Mike Hilton and some of these guys, I think that bodes well for them. The only thing is they've got to keep their eyes on guys like Marvin Mims Jr., Troy Franklin. They can't get beat on the big plays from these guys, and they've got to limit them. So I think that this actually favors the defense. And I can't think of a time where I've actually said that too many times, but you're not looking at a super high-powered offense here in terms of what the Denver Broncos bring. That's not to say that they aren't a solid offense, but these are not guys where you're worried about the explosive plays happening, such as a George Pickens, such as a Lamar Jackson, like some of the guys that we see around this division, Zay Flowers. So I think you limit the explosive plays, and I think they match up pretty well against them, given what I'm seeing right now on paper from the stats standpoint in terms of the splits and what I'm seeing from that perspective. So I think that this is actually going to bode well for Trey Hendrickson, him against Garrett Bowles. Let's see what he can do against that guy. I have full faith that he can try to stretch this lead out. He's going to have to stretch this lead out because we're going against a good pass rusher on their side in terms of Bonito. So if Trey wants to have a shot, I think at this Defensive Player of the Year, which nobody's really talking about it, and it's funny because a Steelers co-host kind of brought it up, like Trey Hendrickson could be the Defensive Player of the Year just because he's the leading sack getter right now. But he's got to increase. He's got to increase that lead. Like, it could be Bonito, right? Like, Bonito's got a defensive touchdown and stuff like that. So, they've got to get –
There's an argument for Pat Surtain.
Pat Surtain is another one, yeah.
I read an article that said if Pat Surtain, they showed the wide receivers that he's gone up against. If he limits Jamar Chase and keeps him like under 50 yards.
So let's talk about that. Do you see that happening?
I do see a world where, much like y'all remember the last time we played the Broncos, we got a sizable lead. They weren't threatened because Drew Lock was quarterback. And so they took their foot off the gas. If Joe Burrow gets enough intel from this defense, I mean, let's say they go up and the Bengals are up like 10 points or something like that at any point in this game. I don't think that they're going to just try to force feed Jamar Chase with Pat Surtain. You could trace the Triple Crown all you want, but you don't want to play with Pat Surtain on like an out route and jeopardize maybe getting a pick six or something like that, I wouldn't play with Pat Surtain like that to get a record. You want to get the record cook next week against the Steelers, where you got Dante Jackson, who's ranked as the 132nd defensive cornerback in the NFL, along with Cam Sutton at 128. You want to go get the record, go cook up the Steelers or something next week. Like, you could have your way. Do not play with Pat Surtain like that. I'm telling you that right now. I do see a world where Burrow could go crazy. Dan Orlovsky tweeted out that what's the kid? Jesus, my mind is gone blank. The other quarterback, Riley Moss. He's a game time decision currently right now. He says that if he plays, that he thinks that the Broncos win that game. I disagree. But what I will say is that I think it changes how much Burrow can pass. I don't worry about T. Higgins on Riley Moss. But I will say that I think that Burrow has proven when he's played this Broncos team before, and anytime that he plays the Browns, he does not play around with high-level cornerback play. The over or under on BETUS is 49.5. I'm telling you right now, partner, I'm taking the under on this. I think that this is going to be a defensive game more so than what people think. And the only way I can see the Bengals blowing this door open on this game is Chase Brown. But, the Broncos are the 4th best run defense in the National Football League.
Yeah, man. I mean, when it comes to what you were saying about this Bengals offense against them, I think like this offense, I'm going to give props to the Broncos defense. I respect them, what they're doing over there. You know, Riley Moss, Pat Surtain, Bonito, I kind of talked about them. Respectfully, I don't see any defense in the NFL right now. Like, I don't think Joe Burrow in these 2024 now, that might sound a little homerish. I'm just being honest, bro. I just think when they're clicking on all cylinders right now. Now, I don't know, like, is the status of T. Higgins, is he going to play?
He's playing.
Okay. If T. Higgins is playing, I don't see nobody.
Orlando Brown's playing.
I don't see them, bro.
Orlando Brown and Mims is playing.
Out there.
But this is what I'm saying. It's not that I don't think that, like, say the season was on the line. I guess it's so to speak it is. Say that the Bengals, this is early in the season. I don't know, like the circumstances.
I think it's going to be a tough matchup, right? I think it's a tough matchup. I just think the best way for you to limit this offense is through what? Pressure, coverage, defensive line, right? We're talking about having Orlando Brown Jr. back out there. We're talking about having Mims back on the second side. We're talking about removing Volson and throwing Cody Ford in there at left guard, which I'm surprised to see that they're finally open to. They've been open to that the last couple of weeks.
Right. They did it 2 weeks ago, but then Orlando got hurt. So then Cody had to go back to left tackle. But Cody Ford is your starting left guard for the rest of the season.
I just think, bro, like, in no disrespect, I think the Broncos are a great defense. I just think that the Bengals offense is that much better. Like, when it comes down to it, even if you take away or try to take away Jamar Chase from this offense, like, let's say Jamar Chase has 50 yards. He's still probably going to get a touchdown. Like, he's like him, and then you got T on the other side, and then you got Yoshi catching you for 50 in a touchdown. You got Gasecki somewhere. You got Chase Brown doing his thing. I just think that the way that this team has hit their stride, it's just a hard team to stop as it stands right now.
Let me rephrase this for you there. All right, you know how we played the Ravens and it had to be a shootout, or we were in the Steelers and it had to be a shootout, or in the Chargers game it had to be a shootout, or all of these different circumstances where it had to be a shootout. Joe is smart enough to recognize this probably isn't a shootout. So why am I just running it up? Like, I just think that if they get like a 10-point lead, he's not going to just keep on slinging the football.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that he would still do that? I don't think he's going to feel like he needs to do that against Bo Nix.
I'm gonna be real with you. I see what you're saying. I think that the Bengals would try to run the ball more. I think Joe's so paranoid by the way that this season is going. I don't think he feels like 10 points is safe, right? Because the Ravens game, 10 points was safe. They took their foot off of the pedal. I think with the game on the line, I think he's still aggressive. I'm not saying that he's going to start cooking to the point where it's like I'm going for a 20-point lead, but I think he has to be at 17 for him to be like, I'm going to take my foot off. If he's at 10, I think he's still going for it just because of the way that the season is going. It's been like no lead is safe, and you just don't know with the defense whether or not they're going to give up a quick play here or there. But I do agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a situation where they're not trying to control time of possession, where they're not trying to be conservative once they get the lead and try to hold on to it. I just think, like, say for instance, you got a 10-point lead and it's 3rd and 8 and it's the fourth quarter. I don't see them doing a handoff. I see them probably trying to go to T. Higgins or Jamar Chase to seal the game.
They should. I think the Broncos defense. I think the Bengals. I agree with your point. I think the Bengals offense is better. I just think that in certain games, Joe knows when to take his foot off the gas a little bit.
Sure.
And so sure. I don't. That's morally. It's now if Bo Nix comes out that joint and puts up 14 points real quick or whatever, and Joe Burrow's like, yeah, I got a match. Yeah, we going crazy on him. Like he going throw for.
Let me ask you this.
He gonna throw for like 400 or 500 yards. He gonna go stupid. Like I don't care who it's against. But I just think that the circumstances will
what
make.
What about this circumstance though? Okay. Triple crown, Jamar Chase only having a lead right now on receptions. Purely receptions.
CD Lamb is checked out of this too.
Purely receptions. I think he's got what, a 4 or 5 receptions.
I thought it was 7. He's got 130 something yards on Justin Jefferson, and I think he's got 7 catches on whoever was. CD Lamb was a part of that, but I don't know if y'all seen a report. CD Lamb is now getting shelled for the rest of the season.
I know it was. I believe it's just. I think it's Brock Bowers, right? Brock Bowers, and it's someone else that's close.
Gotta be CD Lamb is one of them.
I think it might be. Damn, bro, I'm gonna have to.
It gotta be CD Lamb is one of them, bro.
CD Lamb is one of them. Hey guys, if you guys got the numbers in the chat, let us know what they are. But I remembered it being like the only thing I was worried about was like the receptions. I don't think anybody's catching him in terms of yards this weekend unless they do something crazy. But I think it's Amon-Ra. Yeah, it's Amon-Ra and it's Brock Bowers, and they're not that far away from him in receptions, bro. They are not. They're like
Triple Crown. I can see them throwing those little shuffle little passes that they've been doing, which is like a cheat code because it's really like a run play. I can see them doing 3 of them, 1 bubble screen, 1 deep shot.
You're right. It's a 7 reception lead. You got Amon-Ra and Brock Bowers at 1-on-1. So,
and then the yards,
I don't think that's much for Brock Bowers in a game to get, bro.
Yeah, but ultimately the Bengals. This is one thing that everybody got to pay attention to. As much as I want the Triple Crown, there's another Triple Crown that I think I want too. Is Joe Burrow leading yards, touchdowns, and currently he's 3rd in QBR. That's another just my own personal thing, right? All right. But this is the other thing. In all the scenarios that anybody could tell me right now, if the Bengals beat the Broncos, they then go into the final week of the season where it could be Dolphins, it could be Colts, it could be whatever. They have to win this game so that week 18 matters. So no Triple Crown supersedes a possible playoff berth. And that's the other thing that is like, if they decided they want to double up or chase or something like that, Burrow's going to say, no, I need to go win this game.
Yeah.
Like I need to go because all the scenarios, yes, they don't look good for us. Like
is there a game plan though where not going to Jamar Chase is trying to win? I don't know.
I think if they see T. Higgins in single coverage consistently, he's going to him. If he sees Yoshi on 3rd down, which you're going to get, and he feels like he's open, he's going to him. He's got to win the game. Like if they're up big, I could see them maybe force feeding Jamar a couple little BS little passes or something like that. But ultimately, you could be currently right now feeling like the Bengals don't really have a shot because the Colts and the Dolphins, right? But in all those scenarios and all the doubt that you have in your mind, if the Bengals win this game, then week 18 matters in all the scenarios. And I think Joe Burrow's thinking about that before the Triple Crown. And like I pointed out, the week 18 against the Steelers, I think that Jamar Chase is going to go over 200 yards. I think he's going to go crazy.
Let me ask this then. Game's on the line. Game is on the line, right? It's fourth and
We're going to Chase.
Fourth and 5. Same scenario. You got Jamar Chase. You got Jamar Chase double team. You got Yoshi single coverage. You got T. Higgins single coverage. Season's on the line. Where you going?
I'm going to Jamar Chase. But can I say this? We don't play the Broncos often. I think a lot of our viewers respect Denzel Ward. You might just respect Marlon Humphrey or something like that. For me personally, Pat Surtain is better than those guys. I think Pat Surtain, for me, in the profile that I like in a cornerback, in my perspective, I think he's the best cornerback in football. I would not play around with Pat Surtain, like trying to chase a record if this game is like in reach. Like, I'm not saying don't throw the ball to Jamar Chase, but that same little slant that Joe Burrow threw and Marlon Humphrey picked up, Pat Surtain will take it to the other way if you're off just one little hair. And I think because our fans don't play them that often, you're not understanding that this is probably the best cornerback in football. And that's not to say that Chase can't cook him. Chase can go crazy, but I'm not playing with him.
Got you. All right, so that's going to bring us to our Wincy play of the week as we get ready to close the show out. What we got here is an over-under on receiving yards. Now, BETUS has Jamar Chase's over-under at 93.5 yards. I was kind of surprised it was that high. They've got T. Higgins at 71.5. We've got Chase Brown over under 27.5. We've got Yoshi over under 26.5. Is that anything that you're taking for one of your plays of this week?
I like the Chase Brown receiving yards.
All right, so we're taking the Chase Brown receiving yards over. Sure. And I'm gonna take the Yoshi over 26.5.
Jamar 93 is nuts.
You said Jamar 93. Hey, Vegas knows something. Vegas knows something.
The targets are going to be like, look. I've been on record. I think Jamar Chase is the best player in the NFL. Like, that might sound like a crazy take, but think about all the players that you would have to name that you think are better than him. They're all like 30 years old, like TJ Watt, Myles Garrett. These are all like older players, 24 years old. There's only been 4 Triple Crown winners since the merger. Jamar Chase is about to obliterate that record, obliterate any record the Bengals ever had, obliterate everything at 24 years old. He's the best player in football. Hey, what happened?
It just logged me out for some reason. Are you taking? It looks like they also have,
from a betting standpoint.
Looks like they also
what's the receptions on a Jamar Chase? That's the one.
The receptions on Jamar.
Because I could see him. You throw those little short little passes. Someone commented about the rain. There's a report today that said all that precipitation is going to be out the work today. As Ace is loading it up too, if you're on Twitter, I want to say I appreciate you, or X or whatever the hell it's called. Please come on over to YouTube. Please make sure you subscribe. We do appreciate everybody checking out on any of the other socials, but please, we need to get more subscribers. And sometimes people watch the show, even the ops, like, subscribe. You could take the clips from here and you could use it against us and do your op stuff and keep Bengals on your brain, whatever makes you feel good. But we just ask for a subscription that would help us out a lot.
They don't even have receptions for Jamar Chase for this game, so unfortunately they're not offering those. One that I saw though over here on the sacks, Trey Hendrickson, 1 sack in the game.
In the YouTube, it's called Wincinnati. It'll pop right up.
How you feeling about that one? You want to roll with this two right here, these two right here?
Yeah, I think that's good right there. I feel like that Yoshi anytime, like, that goes crazy every week, don't it?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's got 6 tutties. You got to think that's damn near half the season right there. So you're damn near like a 50-50 on that every week.
Let's go ahead and run that 2-leg parlay. We're going to put that one in. So, Wincy play of the week, take Andre Yoshivas and Chase Brown over on those receiving yards. I think you'll be happy with that. We've got a pretty good track record when it comes to Bengals props. Don't listen to us when we pick the other 10. We only have done that one time. But
right. You know, one that looked real good to me is the other running back, McLaughlin. They had it at 8.5 yards. Because I fell so miserably the week before, I didn't say anything, but I'm going to bet that on my own. But 8.5 yards for him, he's averaging 4.5 yards on the season. I actually think he runs better than Javonte Williams. Now, Javonte Williams, for betting purposes, also is the second leading receiving in targets at 64 on his team currently right now, only behind Cortland Sutton, who we haven't talked about at all on the show. But Cortland Sutton is their number one wide receiver. Javonte Williams, the running back, him in the flat is going to be a thing that the Bengals are going to have to watch out for. That and Bo Nix running, of course. But this game, I feel like is very close to me. I think our fans, because we're on a heater right now with Joe Burrow, I understand it. But I will say that this matchup has some things where they're rushing the passer. They got a lot of sacks. They have a competent quarterback. We played 3 bum quarterbacks recently, so.
Yes, sir. Give me your keys to the game before we get out of here, Brody.
The key to the game, keep Joe Burrow clean and good things will happen. I think him moving forward, him playing downhill, as I talked about, is the key to everything. Getting off to a good start, not in retreat, backup mode, trying to catch up with Broncos on the scoreboard and all this other stuff. As you talked about, the Bengals at 28.5 points per game, one of the top offenses in the NFL. Defense is coming off, I think, 9 turnovers in like the last 3 games or something like that, something crazy like that. So if the Bengals can combine that with turnovers and just do what they've been doing offensively, I think that they should win the game. I really do. And I don't think it's like a weird science project to figure that out. I think Lou Anarumo has a habit of making less than quarterbacks or quarterbacks that aren't as accurate, put them in some bad spots. So I think that the defense is now starting to find their way. I think they'll have some success with that. If they don't, I think that the whole Triple Crown and Joe Burrow getting the ball out, I think it's on, and he's playing really good. And I don't think that the Broncos have seen any offense like the Bengals the whole season, in my opinion. The way that the Bengals are playing right now, I mean, even in the L's, you got to go back and look. This team could have had 40-something, 50 points in some of these games. So do that. Take care of the football. Don't give the Broncos any short fields, and let's get it. If they see the one-on-one with T. Higgins, I don't care if it's Riley Moss or not. You take it.
Yeah, I think, protect Joe Burrow, protect the football. Defense has to just make a play here or there, forcing some kind of turnover. Run cover 2 high shell against Bo Nix. He does not know what to do with it. Make sure that you confuse him. Don't give them any opportunities in this game. And I think use the crowd to your advantage. Use the momentum to your advantage and come out of this one with a victory and let the chips fall where they may. I think that's the keys to the victory. And speaking of keys to victory, one key to victory to me is always eat at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Check out.
Wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. It's the AC to the Zim, M to the B's. Uno wings, G-Funk wings, and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Say what up to Jordan Battle. We be doing the battle. Intercepting balls like CTV did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings, cause Zimby stay blazing. And T-Game be smooth as ice. Jamal making DBs fold. TV got big levels, and now you already know. Hits so pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. H to the Zim. M to the B's.
669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Check out Midwest Best Barbecue. They will have you handled anything that you need from barbecue to wings. They've got it. Let them know Ace and Zim sent you. that is going to do it here for the Wincinnati podcast. If you guys are watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you're rocking with us. We will be back live Monday in terms of our next show. So we'll be back to talk about how the game went. We'll break it down. If you haven't, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and check out the post game that Jake and Mon are going to have, and Eric. They're going to be doing the Bengals post live reaction show. Make sure you tap in with them if you want to hear immediately what they have to say after the game. And make sure that you guys subscribe to the Wincinnati podcast. We appreciate it. Before I get out of here, Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say?
Who Dey Nation? Let's ride.